Texas.
Till the roof comes up, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth. Till the roof comes up, till the lights go out, I'ma rip this shit till my bone come out.
A legacy is a beautiful thing, but only if it survives.
I'ma rip this shit till my bone come out.
Something about this trailer feels off. Not in a bad way, but in a way that tells you this isn't the story we thought we were getting. Because yeah, Beth and Rip are back, the ranch is bigger, the stakes are higher. But this time, it doesn't feel like they're in control anymore. And if you watch that trailer closely, you already know someone is coming for them. And this time, it's not just another outsider who doesn't understand the Dutton way. This is different. This is dangerous. And honestly, this might be the first time Beth Dutton is walking into a fight she can't dominate. The trailer opens in a way that feels almost peaceful, and that's exactly why it's unsettling. Wide shots of the ranch, quiet mornings, horses moving through open land. It almost tricks you into thinking this is going to be a fresh start for them. And in a way, it is. We're clearly picking up after everything that happened before, and now it's just Beth, Rip, and Carter trying to build something new. A new life, a new routine, away from all the chaos that used to define them. But if there's one thing we all know by now, it's that nothing about being a Dutton ever stays peaceful for long. And the trailer makes that very clear without even trying too hard. Because right in between those calm moments, you start noticing the cracks, the tension, the kind of silence that doesn't feel safe. It feels like something is about to explode. Beth looks different. Not weaker, not softer, just more aware. Like she knows something is coming, but hasn't figured out what it is yet. And that's rare for her. She's always been the one 10 steps ahead, the one controlling the room, the one people fear before she even speaks. But here, there are moments where she's just watching, calculating, almost like she's unsure. And that alone tells you everything you need to know about what's ahead. And then there's Rip. He's still Rip, quiet, intense, always watching everything around him. But even he feels different this time. There's a weight to him, like he's not just protecting the ranch anymore, he's protecting something fragile. Something that could fall apart if he makes one wrong move. You see it in the way he handles people in the trailer, in the way he reacts to small things. He's more alert than ever, and that's saying something. Because when Rip gets like that, it usually means one thing. He knows trouble is already here. Carter, on the other hand, might be the biggest shift in this entire story. We're not looking at the same kid anymore. The trailer shows him stepping into a different phase of his life, trying to figure out where he belongs in all of this. There are glimpses of him in what looks like a more normal environment. School, people his age, moments that almost feel ordinary. But at the same time, you can tell he's still tied to the ranch, still pulled into this world, whether he wants it or not. And that contrast? It's going to matter, because trying to live a normal life while being part of something like the Dutton legacy, that never ends well. But let's talk about the part of the trailer that changes everything. The moment where the tone completely shifts, because up until then, you can still convince yourself this is just another chapter, another story about survival and power. But then she appears, and you instantly understand. This isn't going to be like anything we've seen before. You don't even need a full introduction. The way she walks, the way people react to her presence, the way the camera lingers just a little longer, it tells you everything. This is someone who doesn't just challenge Beth. She mirrors her. The same confidence, the same control, the same ability to read a room and own it without raising her voice. And that's exactly what makes her dangerous. Because Beth has faced powerful people before. Businessmen, politicians, outsiders trying to take what's hers. But this is someone who plays the game the same way she does. And you can feel it building even in the smallest moments. Short exchanges, sharp looks, conversations that sound polite but carry something much heavier underneath. It's not loud. It's not chaotic. It's controlled, and that's what makes it worse. Because when two people like that go head to head, it's never just about winning. It's about breaking the other person completely. At the same time, the trailer doesn't just introduce one threat. It hints at an entire network of problems coming their way. New faces, unfamiliar dynamics, people who clearly have their own agendas. And none of them feel random. Every single one of them looks like they were placed there for a reason. Whether it's someone working behind the scenes, someone gaining Rip's trust, or someone getting close to Carter, it all feels connected, like a slow setup for something much bigger. And then, of course, there are the details you almost miss if you're not paying attention. The quick flashes, the tension between characters who haven't even spoken yet. The way certain scenes cut too quickly, almost like they don't want you to fully understand what's happening just yet. But one thing is clear, this story is not holding back. There are hints of violence, consequences, and decisions that are going to change everything for these characters. Even the way the trailer is structured feels intentional. It builds you up with moments of calm, then slowly starts layering in unease, and by the end, you're not even thinking about a peaceful ranch life anymore. You're thinking about survival, about who's going to come out on top and who's going to lose everything trying. And maybe the most interesting part of all this is how unpredictable it feels. Usually, with this universe, you can kind of see where things are going. You understand the power dynamics, you know who's in control. But here, that clarity is gone. It feels like the balance has shifted, and no one, not even Beth, fully understands the game anymore. And that's exactly why this spin-off already feels different. Not just bigger, not just darker, but more personal. Because this time, it's not just about protecting land or power. It's about protecting identity, about holding on to something that's already starting to slip. And if the trailer is anything to go by, they're not ready for what's coming, and just when you think you've figured out the direction this story is going, the trailer pulls you even deeper into something much more complicated. Because this isn't just about one rivalry or one new threat. It's about layers. The kind of layers where every character is carrying something, hiding something, or slowly becoming something we didn't expect. One of the biggest things the trailer quietly sets up is the idea that the ranch itself is no longer the safe ground it used to be. Before, my Fainis Saf Ofoarfor, no matter what happened, the Dutton land always felt like the one place where they had control. But here, that feeling is gone. There are too many new faces, too many unknown intentions, and not enough trust to go around. You can literally feel it in the way scenes play out. People watching each other a little too closely. Conversations that feel like tests instead of actual communication. It's like everyone is trying to figure out where they stand, and no one is giving clear answers. And that's where things start to get really interesting with Rip. Because if there's one person who always knew how to read people, it's him. But this time, even he seems to be dealing with uncertainty. The trailer hints at him interacting with new workers, possibly even a new foreman, and the energy there is tense. It's not loyalty, not yet, at least. It's more like observation, like Rip is waiting for someone to slip up. And when Rip starts waiting, instead of acting immediately, you know the situation isn't simple. At the same time, there's this growing sense that the threats aren't just external anymore. Some of them might already be inside. And that changes everything. Because fighting outsiders is one thing. You know who the enemy is. But when the danger is coming from people who are already close, people who are earning trust step by step, that's when things get messy. And the trailer makes sure you feel that shift without directly spelling it out. Now coming back to Beth, because this might be the most important part of the entire setup. What makes her storyline so different this time isn't just the presence of a strong opponent. It's the fact that she can't approach this the same way she always has. Usually, Beth dominates by being unpredictable, aggressive, and completely fearless. But when she's facing someone who operates on that same level, those tactics don't work as easily. And you can see it in her expressions throughout the trailer. She's still confident, still sharp, but there's more calculation than usual. More restraint. And that restraint? It's dangerous in its own way. Because when Beth starts holding back, it usually means she's planning something much bigger. Something that doesn't happen in the moment, but unfolds slowly. And if that's the case here, then whatever she's preparing, it's not going to be small. But at the same time, there's also the possibility that she's being forced into a position she doesn't like. A position where she has to react instead of control. And if that happens, even for a short time, it opens the door for mistakes. And in a world like this, mistakes don't stay small. They turn into consequences that affect everyone. Then there's Carter again, and the more you think about it, the more it feels like his storyline might be the emotional core of this entire season. Because while everything else is about power, control, and survival, his story is about identity, about trying to figure out who he is in the middle of all this chaos. The trailer shows glimpses of him stepping into situations that feel new to him, interacting with people outside the ranch, possibly building connections that have nothing to do with the Dutton name. But that's exactly what makes it complicated. Because no matter how far he steps into that normal life, the reality of where he comes from is always right behind him. And sooner or later, those two worlds are going to collide. And when they do, he's going to have to choose what kind of person he wants to be. Not what Beth expects, not what Rip teaches him, but what he decides for himself. And knowing this universe, that choice is not going to be easy. It's probably going to come with consequences that shape his entire future. Another thing the trailer subtly builds up is the scale of what's coming. This doesn't feel like a small conflict. It feels organized, planned. Like there are moves being made behind the scenes that we're only seeing small pieces of right now. The introduction of multiple new characters isn't random. It feels strategic. Each one brings a different kind of tension. Some feel like direct threats, others feel like wild cards, and a few feel like they're hiding something much bigger than what we see on the surface. And that's what creates this constant sense of suspense throughout the trailer. You're not just watching events unfold, you're trying to connect them, trying to understand how all these pieces fit together. And the more you think about it, the clearer it becomes that this isn't just one storyline. It's multiple storylines building towards something that's going to hit all at once. Even the pacing of the trailer reflects that. It doesn't rush. It takes its time, showing you just enough to keep you guessing, but never enough to give you full clarity. And by the time it ends, you're left with more questions than answers. Who can actually be trusted? Who's playing their own game? And most importantly, who's going to lose when all of this finally explodes? Because make no mistake, that explosion is coming. The hints of violence, the quiet threats, the tension between characters, it's all building toward something. And when it finally happens, it's not going to be clean. It's not going to be controlled. It's going to be messy, unpredictable, and probably devastating for at least one of these characters. And that brings us back to the one idea that keeps coming up again and again throughout the trailer. This isn't what we expected. Not because it's completely different, but because it's evolving. It's taking everything we know about this world and pushing it into a direction where the rules don't feel as clear anymore. Beth isn't the only dominant force. Rip isn't the only one who can handle problems. The ranch isn't the untouchable ground it used to be. And the people around them? They're not just supporting characters anymore. They're players. And that changes the entire game. So, when episode 1 finally drops, don't expect a slow introduction or a calm beginning. Expect tension from the very first moment. Expect questions that don't get answered right away. And most importantly, expect a story where no one is completely safe, not even the ones who've always been in control. Because if this trailer proved anything, it's that the Dutton Ranch isn't just a new chapter. It's a whole new battlefield,